Rich Karen humiliates me for working a poor person's job, so I make them look stupid in front of management. Here's what happened. Subscribe to Am I the Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications. So this happened at a place I used to work at. The place is a similar style to Subway, but it has much better food and is much higher quality. A little backstory. We were expecting a party of around 50 people into the restaurant, so we were gonna have an exhausting day ahead of us. You know where this is gonna go. I had just come back from a delivery and put on my apron to start working again. I was in the prep room, basically where everything is prepared to be served, and I was just getting ready for the huge party by getting out whatever we were short of. The party arrived. My manager called out, "Hey, here they come!" And that's when I saw it was gonna be rough out there. I start getting everything ready and chopping onions, tomatoes, and whatever we were short of already. After 30 minutes or so, about half the party has been served, I'm done with all the prepping, so I decide that the tables need to be cleaned, because no one that's out front could do it. I get all the cleaning stuff and start wiping down some of the inside tables. We have outside ones, but no one ever used them, or at least not when I was working there. I get done with my first table and I'm about to start the second, and I feel a tap on my shoulder. I turn around and I see Karen and her entitled Gremlin, who's around 12-ish, hovering over me. I was kneeling down because I was getting the cleaners and the towel. I say, "If you need a table cleaned, I can do it right now if you want," and I stand up. "I don't need a table cleaned, I want to be served right now," she said in a very condescending tone. Like I'm the one who caused all this. Well, as you can see, there are about 20 people in front of you waiting to be served, and I can't do anything about it. That's how many people were left in the party who hadn't ordered yet. I want them to step aside and let me order first, and I don't want to do that. She's so entitled that she doesn't even do her own dirty work. I can't do that, but you can ask them yourself. Karen stomps over to the line and is asking to cut in front of them. It doesn't work. While she was talking to them, the Gremlin stayed behind, and I talked to him about football because he was wearing a Seahawks jersey. It was nice and all until he said this: "Your job's pretty crap, and I shouldn't take any advice from you." I gave him tips on how to spot fouls and stuff like that. "I bet my mom could buy this whole establishment because she knows the owner." She doesn't. "I don't deserve to talk to you. Now go away, poor man." I got angry, but before I could insult him, his mom comes back over. "Did you have fun talking to this poor man?" I'm getting even more angry. "I loved putting him into his place right where he belongs." I get even more angry and am about to tear both the Gremlin and Karen's head off, but have to prevent me from causing a brawl. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but can you leave this establishment? You're causing an unwanted and unnecessary scene." Perfect. Now they can serve me because they have all their eyes on me. Now she has a smile like she just won the lottery. "If you don't leave, then I might have the manager remove you from the establishment." This must have set her off. "I know the person who owns this establishment. I can get you fired." Ah, classic entitled parents. Do you even know his name? His name is, John. That's his name. It's not, by the way, but we did have someone named John working there. "Okay, then talk to my manager then, since you know his name." I'm trying not to burst into laughter on how this is going to fail. Karen calls out for John, but gets no response, because John wasn't working that day. One of my coworkers heard her screaming this, and they talk, saying that John is off today and if this is important, then you can call him. So she requested his phone number. Our company policy is that you can't give people's numbers to people even if it's their friends and family. She gets mad and stomped over to me in anger. "Give me his phone number so I can call him and he can fire you." I can't, because my manager is working up front and you can see her now, as I point to where she is. "That's not your manager, just some 18-year-old trying to provide money for her poor family." Yes, she said that. Why do you think it's not her? I shouldn't have said this, but I did because curiosity. Because a woman shouldn't be a manager because they don't provide good role models for everyone else. Kind of ironic, her saying that. And only a man should run an establishment because they would be nicer to its customers. I want to be served right now. I don't know how someone can be sexist against their own gender. My manager finally walks over and asks what the problem is. She goes on about how I was rude to her and threatened her to leave or else. And of course the Gremlin agreed with everything and added a few things such as theft. He said I was trying to steal his phone because I was poor. My manager said we have security security cameras in the back room so we can check if all this is true. Karen gets super white, but stays calm and said this: "I just came here to get some food for my starving child." The kid had Ray-Ban glasses, a Rolex, and a really nice pair of Jordans. My anger finally overflowed and decided it didn't want to be contained. You're not poor. Just look at your son. I bet you could just sell his stuff that he's wearing and buy a small yacht. As for you, you're also not poor because look at what you're wearing. You're wearing some glittery high heels that make your flat butt have some curve just to make your husband happy. Oh, and let's not forget the Gucci handbag you have that you put your dog in who yaps all the time just like you. Just so you can get attention because you're just some trophy wife that doesn't get enough attention at home. So you only get it from starting trouble. My manager asks me to go into his office. I thought I was gonna get fired for that stunt. She finally gets Karen and the Gremlin out and comes back to her office. "I feel sorry for you, but all we'll get is a bad review on Yelp or something. I thought you were gonna fire me." "No, everyone needs to get their anger out at someone, and I liked how you put her in her place. But let's get to finishing this party's order. I'll call you out if I need you, but just stay there for a moment to cool off." All that was going through my mind was that I'm gonna get fired today and should start saying goodbye to everyone I worked with. The manager comes back. It was about 20 minutes or so, and I'm sweating bullets. "We're done serving the party and I want you to go home. I think you've been put through enough today." "So you aren't gonna fire me? Do you want to get fired?" "No, I'm just curious why you didn't." "I don't want to lose you. You're a hard worker that doesn't complain about things and gets the job done. It would hurt the establishment if you were to go away. Also, it would hurt everyone here because they like you a lot." "Have a great day and see you tomorrow, I guess." "Same to you." I left and I never saw that jerk in there again up until the day I quit. I really feel like this is one of those stories where everyone started clapping, because that's really what it feels like. We're gonna blow right past that though, and assume that this is a true story. Or maybe our original poster has a bit of a language barrier or something. I kinda got that vibe while reading it, and this is the way they've chosen to portray the story. My main issue with this one is I find it hard to believe that anyone could be that entitled. You don't say that kind of stuff in public. I don't care who you are. You'd learn very quickly in a life like that you're not gonna get the kind of treatment that you think you deserve. You need to treat people with at least a modicum of respect. And then the kid's just as bad wearing a Rolex watch and stuff. I don't know. You see why I have a hard time buying this story. If it is all true, then hey, hats off to our original poster for actually speaking up and saying something. And the manager for not giving them too much of a hard time about it. Some people really do just need to be put into their place. And this was definitely one of those people. You can't really take it out on your employee for doing what needs to be done. Entitled woman seems to think my life revolves around her. Last year, I was working at a customer service desk at a mall, answering phones, helping customers, selling gift cards, things like that. One day I get a phone call from an older sounding woman. "Hi, I recently bought a washing machine from you and need to know how it works." "Hi, I'm guessing you're trying to get through to the appliance store. This is the front desk for the mall. I'll transfer you through to the store." No, I don't want to be put on hold again. Can you just help me?" "I don't know much about washing machines, sorry. The people from the appliance store would be much more helpful." We went back and forth like this for a bit, but she really didn't want her call transferred. So I said I'd do my best to help her. Turns out there wasn't anything wrong with this specific washing machine. She just didn't know how to use the washing machine at all. Told her how to turn it on and put the powder in and all that stuff. About 20 to 30 minutes later, I get another call from this woman. This time she wanted me to tell her why her internet wasn't working. I offered to find the number for her internet provider she was with, but no, she wanted me to fix it. Turns out she just needed to restart her modem, so that was an easy fix, but still frustrating when I had an actual job to be doing. About a week goes by and I haven't heard from her. She then shows up at the mall and asks for me by name. She goes up to my desk, which my manager directed her to, and hands me an envelope full of cash and says, "My power bill's due, I need you to pay it." This was the final straw for me. And after telling her multiple times that I wasn't going to do that for her, and her not listening and getting very worked up, I ended up calling security on her and having her removed from the mall. I'm not your personal assistant, jerk. This is another one that I just have a hard time buying. thing. Like, who is the lady that reaches this age and hasn't learned how to interact with people properly, that thinks the receptionist at the mall is there to fix all of her problems and is gonna pay her bills for her? I don't know. Maybe she has dementia or something. But something's wrong with this whole situation, one way or another. Entitled Mother asks me to lose a Pokemon battle to her Gremlin. For our cast for this one, we have me, the Pokemon Master, Entitled Mom, Entitled Kid, who's around 9 years old I think, and Mall Security. This happened well over a year ago, so forgive me if my memory isn't perfect. So I was at one of my local malls and had just finished looking through the EB Games, Canada's version of GameStop. Now, I'm a rather heavy-set person, so I tire easily, and figured I would take a break on a bench just outside the store. So I'm just sitting there playing Pokemon Moon with headphones in, so I didn't instantly notice the Entitled Mother and Entitled Kid had stopped by me trying to get my attention. The Gremlin then taps on my leg and I look up and remove my headphones. Hi there. Hello. My son was wondering what game you're playing. Oh, this? It's Pokemon Moon version. Oh, mommy, I have that game too. Can I have it to play? Sure, sweetie. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a 3DS. The Entitled Kid then looks at me with a smug look, powers on his system, points at me and shouts, I'm the best trainer ever. Let's battle. I look over at the Entitled Mother who nods, so I reply, all right, kid, bring it on, in a calm but confident voice. The Entitled Mother then leans over and whispers to me, please let him win. I don't want him to feel bad. I awkwardly nod and the battle begins. We both have even level Pokemon, so that wasn't a factor. I was just taking it easy and the kid pulled up a 3 to 5 lead on me. He'd been insulting me with each move I made, but what he said next crossed a line. You're so pathetic. You should just quit this dumb game. You couldn't beat a preschooler. You suck, fat butt. And he proceeds to stick his tongue out at me. Now, I don't mind taunting during a battle. I mean, it's all part of really any game. However, there are lines you don't cross, and he had just crossed one. I decided then and there I was gonna give him a lesson he wouldn't soon forget. His cocky attitude got to me, so then I began to battle properly and coldly. The Entitled Mother was watching, and her face kept contorting more and more as one by one Entitled Kid's remaining 5 Pokemon got swept aside, giving me the victory, 3-0. The Entitled Mother and her Gremlin just sat there in stunned silence as I broke the connection and packed away my system, ready to resume my day. Entitled Mother stood up, grabbed my shoulder, spun me around to face her, and how dare you? My son was supposed to win. The kid is now flailing on the ground. It's not fair! Not fair! Wah! See? Look what you've done now, fatty! By now, a crowd is formed and is watching what's unfolding. At this point, I'm absolutely done with this, and I say, listen here, lady. I remove her hand from my shoulder. First of all, never touch me again. Second, your kid, who was still screaming on the floor, crossed the line with his insults. I was fine throwing the battle before that, so don't blame me. Blame that mouth on your kid. How dare you talk about my child that way? She tries to smack me and I block her. Just then, mall security, having seen the crowd, comes through and sees me holding back Entitled Mother's arms and the Entitled Kid still flailing and wailing on the ground. He says, what the heck's going on here? Entitled Mother steps back and starts playing innocent. Oh, officer, thank God. This brute assaulted me and tried to steal my son's game after verbally insulting him. I want him arrested now. That's not what happened. What happened is she proceeds to cut me off. Shut up, you liar! You're a child abuser! As the Entitled Mother finally attends to her screaming Gremlin, impressive lung capacity by the way, I move aside with the mall security and explain the whole situation. He radios to the security office to check the cameras and takes witness statements while that happens. The camera, along with the crowd, confirm my story, as mall security turns to Entitled Mother and Entitled Kid and says, I've heard all I need to hear. Entitled Mother has a smug grin on her face. Ma'am, I know that your kid threw a fit after losing and then you assaulted this man. She proceeds to turn white as a ghost, while the kid just sobs. I'm gonna need you to stay here while I contact the police. I say, hold on, mall security. I'm declining to press charges. It's not worth the time. Plus, as rude and obnoxious as she and her kid are, I'm not going to be responsible for ripping a parent and child apart. The security guard turns back to the mother and kid. You're both banned from the mall indefinitely. Be glad that's all that's happening. Entitled Mother then grabs grabs her Gremlin and stuffs his game system away, flips me, mall security, and the crowd off before running out the closest exit. With that, the crowd dispersed, and I finally went about my day knowing I had just schooled this little jerk in Pokemon. Most of this I'm on board with until about halfway through. Like you said, when the kid started getting nasty with his insults and stuff, that's when you draw the line. You're not gonna reward that kind of behavior. You gotta teach him a lesson. And apparently Mom was not happy about him learning anything. It's probably a lesson she should have taught him herself a long time ago though. A little humility never hurt anyone. The way it escalated though was just out of control. You're really gonna sit there and try and make those claims in the middle of a mall when there's people around and cameras? You can't just throw those kinds of accusations out there. Either way, as long as she's not allowed back there, hopefully you don't have to deal with her again. Male Karen destroys my racket so I wouldn't defeat his son at a tournament. So a little backstory. I had an incident with my arm previously, also due to an entitled parent. I decided to get back into a sport to challenge myself and to practice more with it. So when I get all my mobility back, I decided to give racquetball a shot. For those who don't know, it's more or less squash but with a way bigger and bouncier ball, and also different racket styles. After almost 2 years of practicing when I was 15, my trainer told me that I should enter a tournament, since the winners would be getting a trip to play in the state tournament, and if they won that, also in the national tournament. So I gave it a shot. Now let's introduce the cast. We have mom, trainer, entitled parent's son, who was a cool adversary by the way, referee, and me. So this happened during the quarterfinals of the state tournament. It was really hard to get there since many of the participants were experienced people, but I had managed to get that far. However, when it was about 5 minutes away from my turn to play against my next opponent, I felt someone tap my shoulder, and here he is. A huge man who seemed to have exchanged all of his hair to his beard, just staring at me with a sort of fake smile and an unnatural killing glare in his eyes. The dialogue went something like this.
Hi.
Hello.
So, you play pretty good, boy.
Thanks, I suppose.
You know, the boy you're about to face is my son. He's been practicing this for years.
I was assuming it was just an attempt to be a good sport. Well, me too. I suppose it's gonna be a really good match then.
Yeah, sure. We'll see. I was actually wondering if you could just, quit.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal. Also, you'll actually do yourself a favor since I know my son would wreck you if you face each other.
I'm actually getting kind of upset with his attitude at this point. Okay, then we'll see who the best player is.
Are you for real?
At this point, my trainer jumps in.
Hey, original poster, it's your turn now.
Entitled parent stopped his sentence and just walks away with a really bad mood. I swear that if glares could kill, this would be John Wick's version of them. So the game started and it was a really good game. It was neck and neck, but I was gaining a lead. Just a few minutes later into the game, a horn is played. This means that something has happened and the game needs to be stopped. It appears that the game that was happening next to us, which was also to decide the semi-finalist, one of the contestants fell off and got a lesion. So he wasn't able to play and needed to go to the hospital. As I got out of the game room to see what was happening, I left my racket at the side of my competitors. Huge mistake. So it appears that while everyone was distracted, Male Karen saw it as a chance to sabotage me so his son could win. He literally entered the room and destroyed my racket as if a bowling ball had passed through it. Fortunately, this wasn't unnoticed. My trainer spotted him.
Hey, what the heck are you doing? Nothing.
My mom chimed in here too. Hey, that's my son's racket! What are you doing to it?
Oh, well, I was just ensuring that nothing happens to them. But when I got here, it was like this.
What? I literally saw you breaking the cords. At this point, the referee intervenes.
Sir, I must tell you that it is a severe infraction to the game rules. Your son can no longer play in this tournament.
This isn't fair. I didn't do anything. Surely it's just a poor trick from him.
Referring to my trainer.
He's just doing it to get his student to the semifinals, since he can't do anything to win against my son.
Well, this can be rectified by simply looking at the cameras that are recording the matches.
Suddenly, every inch of confidence in Male Karen's face vanished. I just kind of sat back and watched the show.
Okay, sir, I'm sorry, but as the camera shows, you are guilty, so your son will be disqualified.
Oh, not this again. Thanks for not trusting in me, Dad. Even if I couldn't win, it was because my opponent was better and deserved to win fairly. fairly.
Oh, come on. I was just trying to help you. I'm sure you could win anyways.
Then why did you sabotage me instead of trusting him? At this point, a mix of rage and embarrassment leaked out in both his face and voice.
This doesn't concern you. Also, don't be that confident. You don't have a racket, so you can't play anyway.
No, Dad, this does concern him since you broke his racket. And yes, he does have a racket.
At this point, I was surprised when the kid grabbed his own racket, which was way newer than mine from what I could see and was way more expensive as well, and gave it to me.
Please, take it as an apology for my dad's behavior. I hope you win the tournament.
At this moment, my mom and trainer arrive with the security of the place, so they take male Karen away with his son. He was absolutely enraged at this point because his son was on my side. My trainer asked my mom if she wanted to press charges, but she said I was the one that had to make that decision, to which I happily said no, since I actually won and got a new racket in that situation. I felt bad for the kid having to deal with his dad. What happened next was that I got myself into the finals, but ended up losing to the one who actually made it to the semi-finals in the national tournament. From what I could tell of male Karen, he received obligatory parenting courses and is a way better person now. Also, the kid is one of my best friends nowadays. And again, everybody clapped. I'm not sure what's going on with the stories here today, guys, but yeah, a lot of these don't exactly seem genuine, do they? A lot of the times I think people just want to be the hero, and they have that brief moment by posting a story like this on Reddit. Who knows? Maybe it is true. In which case, I'd say the hero of this story is male Karen's kid. He's the one that actually acted the most adult out of everyone involved. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories, linked at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot, linked in the description as well. Either way, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.